No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. We're going all the way so you can score more for your trade-in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV today. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live from BroncoNationNews.com is presented by RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective Studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Morning, Boise State fans, and welcome to another edition of Bronco Nation News Live. Not BJ this morning, John Mallory filling in for BJ Rains, getting ready to talk some CFP, some Boise State football. With me, my partner today, the 206th overall pick of the 2000 NFL Draft, 7 picks after Tom Brady. I will have you, our man, Brad Bedell. Coach, this is going to be a fun one. Happy Thanksgiving in advance, and let's talk some ball today, man.
Absolutely. I think Tom Brady won that one a little bit more than I did, huh?
What was draft day like for you?
Oh my God, it was horrible. Well, I mean, I needed some things to fall. I was getting calls in the third round and said, hey, if this guy goes before, we're going to take you. And that didn't work out. Same thing, the fourth, the fifth. And then saw some guys come off the board by a young man by the name of Joey Chutz at a La Tech. He's no longer with us, so I'm sorry for that. But there's some guys I'm like, what the hell is going on right now? I mean, I hadn't been arrested, right? I didn't get in trouble. I'm a good football player. And it just so happens, I mean, things work out for a reason. I fell to Cleveland and, c'est la vie. But yeah, Tom Brady, just alone with Giselle is a winner other than me.
All right, man. 7 picks. I saw that and I was like, 2000. I think that was Brady's draft, 6th round.
It was.
Brady's round. That's pretty cool. Well, CFP released last night. We want to start there and kind of get your thoughts. Boise State stays on the 4 line. I mean, I think obviously as expected, it was going to probably be Arizona at the 12 or maybe at the 11, maybe SMU with the 12. I don't think there was a ton of surprises, Coach Bedell, last night, but for Boise State fan, hey, survive and advance. They didn't lose anything at all for whatever they didn't do. People thought up in Laramie other than get the win, obviously.
Well, they gained one, right? I'll be honest with you. In the past couple of weeks, according to the playoff people, I've been wrong, right? So I've been saying they need style points, you need to win more and more. That's not true anymore. If you really look at it, think like they did an interview with I forgot. I don't know if it was the main guy. It doesn't matter. But he's like, Boise won. He goes, we value winning. So it really doesn't matter if you win by 3, 2, 1, or 20, right? It doesn't. Right now, where Boise State is, win, you're in good shape. Lose, we got an issue. So I've been saying style points. Obviously, I've been wrong, and I need to call that out. And I think at the end of the day, a win's a win, and you move on. Doesn't matter how pretty or how ugly, but a win's a win. They're valuing winning, especially in the G5. And there's a couple in the G5. I mean, everybody in Tulane, just stop. You guys aren't that good. Let's just stop. And then all of a sudden, Army, I love what they do for this country. That's awesome. But guess what? You guys got the ever-living crap kicked out of you by Notre Dame, where Boise is a 3-loss team, 3-loss to the number 1 overall team in the country. So your resume doesn't stack. So I think they're going to value Boise as they went out, you're in, and you're in at the 4. Is Arizona State creeping up? Sure. Is their resume good enough? No. I don't think they can leap them. I just don't see it. I think this is the nightmare that the committee didn't want, is a Boise State coming in as higher than the Power 4 conference, and they're going to get the bye. So they don't want it. They don't want it at all, but they're going to get it. And so enjoy this, because times are a-changing here in a year or two.
Yeah, I don't know if this is what's going to be, but certainly a down year for the Big 12 in terms of this CFP. Several teams ranked, Coach, but maybe we're starting to see some ripple effects of Oklahoma and Texas and those brands just being out of this league now. And because that's the big debate. People seem to think, well, hey, there's no way. 2-loss Arizona State, 1-loss Boise State. They're going to give the edge to the Big 12, the power, the branding of that conference. And I don't know. We'll see. But I saw that quote, too, from that person on the committee saying, no, they won. There are people on this committee who coached at Laramie, and they said it's a really tough place in a tough environment. You just go there and just win. Don't think about anything else in that situation. So, yeah, I saw that, too. But I seem to think kind of where you are. I think if Boise State wins out, and it's not going to be easy. These are tough games, man. Oregon State and then UNLV. I mean, that's not going to be easy to win these 2 games. If they do, I don't know. I'm with you. I think I see them staying on the 4 line. Who do you see? I mean, do you see any other shakeups, Jaden? If you wouldn't mind putting that graphic back on the screen here on BNN Live, do you see any other shakeups with this coach? Like Indiana, obviously a loss, they're out. SMU loss, they're out. A couple of these other teams. What should we be looking for?
Well, I think number 1 is the ACC championship game. It's going to be SMU and Miami, correct?
Should be. Clemson
Should
still
be, right?
factors in. Clemson factors in, but I'm not certain how that all plays out. But let's assume.
Let's assume that's in. So I think if SMU gets trounced, I think they possibly stay in at 12. I think now Boise goes to 10. Indiana's they play Purdue, so that's a win. So I think Indiana's can possibly move up. Tennessee, Georgia, that's going to have to be shaken out. Georgia's in the SEC title game. And so, you got Alabama just kind of waiting there. So the situation I think is going to be is if Tennessee loses again, does that propel Alabama up with a win over, in my opinion, a below average Auburn team? Mm-hmm. Right. I know they just came off the Texas A&M win. It's a great win for Auburn, get it and all that, but that's a 4-win team. So I think, but for Alabama just to hang around 13, this committee is just dying to put Alabama in. And I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But I think that's going to be the shakeout. I think the real blow up would be if Arizona State loses in the Big 12 championship game. And let's not say like the Big 12, is it a horrible conference? No, it's like the Big 12 and the SEC are kind of in line here. They're just beating up each other.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And I would say one more thing is like the Big 12, I believe they play 9 conference games. And so people are saying well, strength of schedule. Well, it's also not helping you either when you're playing some below average Big 12 teams, right? I mean, let's just face it. I think Colorado's going to be out. I don't think they got a shot. I think Arizona State, if Arizona State loses, Boise State wins out, they're guaranteed. There's not even an argument. If Arizona State beats Arizona, not a great win, but on paper, it's a great win for the kids. And then the Big 12 title game, if they win that, I still don't think they can leapfrog a Boise team that's going to be Oregon State at home and a ranked UNLV team in the conference title, where Arizona State's not going to get that ranked win. They're not going to get another ranked win, right? There's not another ranked win in the Big 12 to have, where Boise State's got the opportunity for another ranked win with UNLV. Now, UNLV's not guaranteed. You got Choder this weekend. So that big rivalry's got to play out. And if UNLV loses, Colorado State's in.
Yep.
And a Colorado State walking in here, it's going to be an ugly game.
Let's stick on this road. Let's assume Boise State's got that bye Fiesta Bowl waiting on that 5-12. With what you've seen right now, and this is going to be absolutely fantastic, and this is what I'm loving about this new world of college football, just on game day, man. Some of these matchups and what's going to be at stake, Coach. Let's just fast forward to the Big Ten championship in the house that Peyton Manning built. You got Oregon and Ohio State, let's assume. I know Washington's going to give Oregon everything it can, and that's a nasty rivalry. We'll see. But who do you think wins that game at that site if you had to put money on it now from what you've seen? Oregon, Ohio State, because the significance is the loser of that game is going to go to the 5 line, probably beat Arizona State, and see Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl.
It pains for me to say this. I think Ohio State's starting to get rolling. And I'm not a big Ohio State guy. Actually, I grew up a huge Michigan fan.
How come? Okay.
I grew up a huge Michigan fan. My uncle played hockey at Michigan. My other uncle played baseball at Michigan.
Nice. Did you go to Rose Bowls when Michigan was down there?
I didn't miss a Rose Bowl game since the age of 5 to 19.
I heard about that. Never mind. Yeah. I heard you talking. The 91 Rose Bowl, Washington, Michigan. It would have been the 92 Rose Bowl. Mario Beasley, Desmond Howard. That was like my favorite team ever. The 91 Huskies, Steve Entman. Yeah. Oh, dude. Anyway, we could.
I believe that's the game that Biaka Batuka took at 92 for a touchdown.
God, I think that was later. The following year, Tyrone Wheatley just ran over Washington's ass, man.
So I think Ohio State. Yeah, I think Ohio State wins that game. I think this is what kind of is interesting because I saw this morning, and I interesting your take on it. Now everybody's saying you want to be the 5 seed, right? Because the 5 seed, if what's built is you're going to go in and play Boise at 4, right? So let's say Ohio State says the 5, they play Boise State. Okay. Well, if I'm to assume, that if Oregon loses that game, then they go to the 5. And if I'm right, well, all of a sudden now you want to be the 5 seed because Boise State's sitting there. Is it a great matchup? I would be honest with you. It's going to be very tough. But now all of a sudden you want to be the 5 seed because Boise State's sitting there at 4. I think that's kind of BS that everybody now is like, well, you want to be the 5, just assuming that they're just going to run over Boise State.
I get you. That's a great point, dude. Just in my world of watching sports, talking about sports, gambling and lines, the 5 path, I mean, this is crazy to think, but the 5 seed is one of the best seeds to have in this year's tournament. Say it's Oregon at the 5.
Right.
They're going to be a double-digit favorite against Arizona State and Boise State, just thinking at it like that. And people are saying, shit, that path. Otherwise, pardon my French. Wow, I'm hanging out with Bedell for 18 minutes and I let one slip.
I haven't even cussed yet. You're going to blame me for that?
But here, if you're Oregon, say Oregon's number 1 overall, the number 1 overall seed, awesome, love it. Your first game is against winner of Tennessee, Georgia. If Georgia looks great against Tennessee and wins, Georgia's probably favored against Oregon in their first CFP game. So it's weird in this particular tournament, the way these chips are falling. If I'm a fan of any of these teams, hell yeah, sign me up for a home game against Arizona State, especially if it's cold. Arizona State, you know this, Tempe guys, they don't want to come tussle in like 10-degree weather. You're going to have that advantage. And then you get Boise State on a neutral side. So from that perspective, yeah, Coach, I see I see a pretty I mean, that's a sports radio path, if you will,
sure.
Right?
No, I hear you.
Talking points.
Yeah, you got to play the game. But
Yep.
I mean, it's what worries me a little bit in this matchup. We're taking the assumption that Boise's going to be 4. I hope something slides where it gets the Penn State game. Something that's not built off of wide receiver speed. A team that's built off utilizing the tight end on offense, a running game, heavier formations, because I think that matchup fits better for Boise and without wide receiver speed. I'm not, everybody knows it. It's the pass defense has been corners haven't played very well. I'll just say it. Okay. And so will it get fixed? It can, but it doesn't. Oregon and Ohio State's 5 deep at wideout, right? Nevada, yeah. San Jose State's got Nash, the one kid. I didn't know Wyoming had a wide receiver until last Saturday.
I know.
I'm not saying anything Spencer hasn't said or Shenander. It's just that has to get cheered up if you're going to go against. Now you're in the tournament. The other thing I want to say is this: you better watch at Georgia. They've been there. They understand it. Kirby's smart. He understands what it's going to take once you just get in that title. It's like Alabama when they came in at an at-large bid at the 4, they won the whole thing, and they lost in the SEC title, but they won the national championship because they've been there. They know it. They understand what it's going to take. They understand the scheduling. They understand the practices. They understand the prep. They understand the pressure, and that's what worries me is when kids have been in there. There's a reason why the same teams when they get in the NCAA basketball tournament, for the most part, are still going to keep going to the Final Four because those kids understand it. They just get it. They understand the grind of it. They understand it's game after game after game after game. And they understand that coaches have to rest players when to rest players, when to go full throttle, and things like that. And I think a Georgia team is a very worrisome team.
So you would think, like, say this scenario. Penn State wins out. They sit at 11-1. Oregon and Ohio State play in the Big Ten championship game. Just for kicks and giggles, Oregon wins that game 57-6. They just murder face them. At that point, Ohio State then is 11-2. Both losses to Oregon. The second one was embarrassing. At that point, does Penn State come to the 5 line? Right now they're sitting at the 6 line. Do they flip Penn State and Ohio State? Even though Ohio State beat Penn State, now they have 2 losses, and then Penn State gets on the 5 line, beats Arizona State in Happy Valley, and then you got Penn State, Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl, and you're saying, like, for a dream scenario where Boise State can find itself in the Final Four, hope somehow, some way Penn State gets on the 5 line?
Yep, because when you look at that, you got to stop number 44 at Penn State, the All-American tight end. He's a stud. He's probably arguably, besides Colson Loveland, shout out to Idaho, is probably the best tight end in the country. So you got to stop him and things like that. Now, physically, all that, I'll get that later. It doesn't matter. Yes, that's a dream matchup. Would you rather have that, or would you ever have 3-4-4 guys going vertical?
I'd rather focus on the tight end.
Yeah, me too. So, and I mean, not saying that Penn State doesn't have speed. They got speed, don't get me wrong, but you can help yourself and things like that rather than you just can't. Boise can't play all 4 wide receivers. It's just, you can't happen. So that's a dream matchup for me. And I love that matchup. I love that matchup because it's built off of 2 personalities. Okay. Because I know Coach Franklin, it's a physical mindset, and we are going to run the football and to make you quit. I think that'd be a fun game to watch for Boise State. Now,
think about this, man. We were talking about this yesterday on KTIK, but if it sits like this, Coach, the opening weekend, that Friday and Saturday, December 20th and 21st, these are the venues that are going to host games in this new magical tournament. Columbus, Ohio, Athens, Georgia, where's Penn State? What's that? College
State. No, Happy Valley.
Happy Valley, wherever they call that. And then South Bend. I mean, look at those venues that will be hosting those games. I mean, from that standpoint, I mean, this tournament, that's just magnificent, Coach.
Right.
I mean, this thing's going to be, do we realize how stinking mega this thing is going to be? I mean, look at what we're looking. We grew up the same time when we were begging. I'm still mad at 1991 that the Washington Huskies didn't get to play Miami that year. They were both undefeated. One had to go to the Rose, the other went to the Orange, and you just never got to see it. Look at what we have now, dude. This is crazy.
I would even, if you even go funny, look at the if you rank the places to play, I think on that list, Ohio State's 1, Georgia's 2, Penn State's 3, and Notre Dame's 4. Just overall crowd, noise. I've been to, I played at Georgia. Oh my God. We were the whiteout game at Penn State at night at 7:00 kick.
With who?
Auburn.
I remember that game. Hell yeah.
Lost by 3. We incomplete. So we lost that game.
It felt like the environment lost that game too. The atmosphere. That was crazy, man.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That end zone, you can't hear yourself think. Georgia, what's brutal about Georgia is you have to stay in North Atlanta, and they don't take you. They take you through back roads. So it's like an hour and 45-minute drive because they can't take you through main roads because of the tailgating and all that. Wow. And so they shut the freeway down, and they put you on the freeway, and you go through these outskirts town, and every now and then you'll just get a nice little beer bottle across the bus. And you're about 40 minutes out, and they're still waiting for you.
Wow, man. Yeah.
It's going to be unbelievable. And I don't, if you really think about it, is Arizona State really ready to go to Ohio State?
No. And if that's the opening Friday night, Coach, and it's 62-7, Stacy's available, man. Like, that's not going to look good for this tournament if that's the case, because it's not really a fear, but this is going to happen. I mean, the SEC right now in this field only has 3 teams in, and 2 of them are playing each other. Okay. Okay. No. And then the only other team is Texas. They're not even really with us yet. Screw those guys. Like, that's why I think you were mentioning Bama. They are just waiting to be able to put Bama in. I don't know how that's going to happen. Maybe if SMU loses. Indiana, you're right. They're not losing to Purdue. Penn State, I can't remember who they play. I think they're who's their end of whoever it is, Michigan State, whatever. They're probably not going to lose either. But I just think moving forward with this tournament, I don't think this right here is going to be okay with the SEC. They're going to want more teams in. I don't know what they're going to do about it, Coach, but like back to your whole point, is Arizona State really ready for this type of party? Columbus in December, possibly on a Friday night? Oh, no. Jesus.
No, they're not. They're not. But, the other thing is what's interesting is really Tennessee and Georgia at the 9 and the 8. Well, they're going to play Texas in the Big 12 title game. Well, Georgia is, right?
Yep.
Texas is in it. So let's say Texas beats Georgia. Georgia out, Alabama in, and Tennessee's fine. So one of those teams, the team that's not going to the SEC championship, does that mean you're in?
I know, man.
So,
how are they going to penalize the losers of conference championship games, right?
In my opinion, I think if whoever wins Georgia, Tennessee, okay, let's say Georgia beats them, right? Tennessee's out. And I think here's a conspiracy. Here's how you can get 3 SEC teams in, or another one, or keep 3 in, obviously. Georgia wins the SEC. Texas stays. Georgia stays. Sneak Alabama in because Tennessee's out. Or do they just go, you know what, Indiana, sorry, but you got the last round. Is it going to happen? No. It's I said this from jump. Notre Dame's ranked too high. They're respecting the Notre Dame team who's got a bad loss to NIU.
Yeah.
And I think if a Notre Dame goes on the road in the tournament, I think they lose. I think they lose. I'm not a huge fan of this Notre Dame team.
I'm with you. Yeah, but if Notre Dame's 10-2, 11-1, they're in this thing every single year.
Every year. And
I think they're going to try to look at the ACC, and they're going to try to say, okay, SMU or Miami, you guys decide this. Sorry, we're not letting both of you in, especially on a Notre Dame year. Most years, if Notre Dame's got 3 losses, we don't even have to involve them. They're not in a league. But on Notre Dame years, it's going to steal a bid from a team. And this is one of those years. So I think it's probably going to be SMU or Miami. And then they try to get that other 3-loss SEC team in. Does that bug you? That you can lose 3 times. You've been in the SEC. You know that schedule, all that stuff. Does that bug you that a 3-loss number 4 team in the SEC gets in this thing?
It bugs me because it's a 3-loss team, but I honestly think either one of a 3-loss SEC team probably beats SMU pretty bad. And I think a 3-loss SEC team is giving Miami a run for their money. Now, eventually the Cinderella foot's got to fall off for Miami. I mean, last week they dominated it, right? They won big, but a lot of their wins are within that 7-point margin. So now, okay, give me an SEC team versus a Miami team. I don't think that 7 loss is going away because of athletic purposes. So that's a good point. I think if one ACC team gets in, then they're going to sneak in. Trust me, that commissioner of the SEC, Bob Sankey, he's doing everything he can right now. He is just burning his phone saying, it's one ACC team, and you better have 4 SEC teams in here, or we are going to rethink this whole thing.
Absolutely. And they're probably going to rethink it anyway. But if it's this crap, oh God. Yeah, no, this is not going to happen. Brad Bedell, John Mallory filling in for BJ on BNN Live this morning from the Western Collective Studios. Jaden Finch producing. I want to get your thoughts, Coach, on what Coach D is doing right with this thing. Okay, and then talk some more Boise State football.
Sure.
First, a quick message from Boise State or BJ Rains and Bronco Nation News sponsors. We'll be right back on BNN Live.
Subscribe to Bronco Nation News on YouTube. Join the fastest online growing community of Boise State sports fans. YouTube.com/Bronco Nation News is the website. If you're watching on Facebook or X, we ask you to swap over YouTube.com/Bronco Nation News. If you're already watching on YouTube, make sure you click that subscribe button. And while you're there, hit the like button as well. Help us show up higher in the algorithms. All the press conferences, highlights, interviews, live shows, all of our content is available on YouTube. Again, subscribe today so you don't miss any broadcast. Hit the notifications button and turn that on so you're notified when we go live. And again, subscribe to Bronco Nation News on YouTube. Join the Horseshoe Collective and Bronco Nation News at every away game football watch party at the National. It's inside House of Western proper, part of the Western Collective group at 610 West Idaho Street. You walk in, you turn to the right, and it's the bar right there. They'll have full audio of the games. Great deals, including $3 Horseshoe gold nails, And 10% of all proceeds goes to benefit the Horseshoe Collective. Again, Western Collective has locations in Garden City or downtown Boise. Try some of their delicious beers, including that Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer in the country to support an NIL collective. Check them out, Western Collective, our studio sponsor here at Bronco Nation News. I tell you every day, but there would be no Bronco Nation News without Andy Rowe and our title sponsor, rowpaint.com. Concrete coatings, interior, exterior, residential painting, commercial, industrial, all your painting needs. Consider the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. And again, our title sponsors. Support the sponsors, folks. Your next painting project, make sure it's with rowpaint.com. Check them out online, roepaint.com, or give them a call, 208-991-0567. Power and people, pride in painting. The title sponsor of Bronco Nation News is rowpaint.com. Be on the lookout for the next edition of the Tyson Degenhart Show, sponsored by Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. There's a branch pretty much on every corner, but the easiest, of course, is that mobile e-branch online banking in the app on your smartphone. Check them out for all your banking needs, whether it's a home loan, a car loan, just want to get a standard checking account set up. They can do it all at Idaho Central Credit Union. Check them out online, ICCU.com. Whether it's the Magic Valley, the Treasure Valley, all over Idaho, all over the surrounding states. Next time you need to head to the grocery store, think Ridley's Family Markets. Find a location near you online at shopridleys.com. Again, love the Star location, love the Cuno location. Whenever we head up to McCall, that's the spot we stop as well. Download that Skep app, get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line. And keep in mind, Ridley's Family Markets, sponsor here at Bronco Nation News. Snake River Pool and Spa Patio and Game has been around since 1978. Locations in Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, Nampa. They're part of the Boise State home team, and they can help you out at thespateam.com. The Raines family purchased our spa. We are loving it. The delivery, the installation, the setup. It was so easy. I highly recommend it. They help you every step of the way, and we're loving, as the weather starts to cool down here, our new spa from Snake River Pool and Spa. But again, the patio and game portion, they've got that as well. Pool table, billiards table, anything you need for the game room, for the patio, they can help you out. Again, full inventory can be available online. They're ready to help you now. Check them out. Snake River Pool and Spa, Patio and Game, thespateam.com. The Raines family found out firsthand just how amazing Matt Bauscher and his staff is. Number one ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley for a reason. The Raines family purchased and sold our home using Matt and his team, Kelly, Cade, Sarah, the whole team, just tremendous customer service. So thankful we went with the sponsors, 243-8222. Check them out online, BauscherRealEstate.com. And again, no home is too big or too small for Matt and his team. Let them take care of you, BauscherRealEstate.com. Check out the Riley and Ridge Show every Tuesday night on Bronco Nation News. Former Boise State tight end Riley Smith, longtime Boise State assistant coach Kent Riddle, together, weekly football talk from a unique perspective. Streams every Tuesday, 8 o'clock on YouTube.
Appreciate everybody. Sponsors, support the companies that support Bronco Nation News. John Mallory, Coach Brad Bedell with you. Coach Danielson said something in his Monday presser, Coach Bedell. I just couldn't handle it. He said he hates stuffing. He never touches stuffing on Thanksgiving dinner. In almost, 28, 29, 30 hours, Coach, we're going to be eating Thanksgiving dinner. Oh, hell yeah. I love stuffing. Are you a stuffing guy?
Absolutely.
Good. Spencer, no stuffing?
I'll tell you one thing. Hey, I'm going to ruin your morning. You know what I am not? I do not like mashed potatoes.
Okay. Not even if you drown them in gravy and butter.
No, I don't like mashed potatoes. And I'll tell you what, you could take green bean casserole and shove it up your butt.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a huge green bean casserole guy too, but I'll eat it. I mean, I can't wait.
I ain't eating that. But stuffing? I mean, that's like anti-American on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. It's not a Thanksgiving dinner if there's no stuffing.
I completely agree with you.
What is Coach D doing right? You've been in NFL locker rooms, college, coaching. Mm-hmm. You've seen a lot of guys do this right, and you've seen a lot of guys F this up. When you see Spencer, what are you like, hey, man, he's nailed that and that and that?
My top three things is obviously he's got a connection with his football team that can't be argued. Meaning, I think they have complete, full trust in him. And I think if on the day before a game, if he said, hey, we're going to go full pads for an hour and a half, I don't think they would actually second guess it.
Yeah, okay. I agree.
I mean, and that is a huge thing. I mean, it's like we've given you the plan. We're executing this plan that we talked about at the start of the season. And if you just trust me, it's going to work. The other thing is, and they kind of go hand in hand, is his honesty is very refreshing. And it's not only with the players, I don't think, because I'm not in those meetings, but he's very honest with the media. He'll come out and go, yeah, special teams, we made some excuses. It's not good enough. We've got to get it fixed. Pass defense, not good enough. We better get it fixed or we're going to be in trouble. You know, he doesn't hide behind coaching speak. Like, you know, I know we gave up some big plays, but if we just did this different, it wouldn't happen. No, he's a realist. It happened. So if we don't get it fixed, we're in trouble. And then I think last is, I think he understands this team of where's their energy level at. Take San Jose State at halftime, when I don't know if he saw San Jose State like in a funk and saying, hey, we are supposed to be up or not, heads down. He is yelling at the players, not in the bad way, like, let's go, we're running in. Let's go, we're going. That's infectious. And players talk about that in locker rooms, and they're probably having a joke with him and saying, hey, coach, you can dial it down a little bit. But no. Yeah. It's just it's like the way everything is full throttle. It's either fast lane or slow lane. I mean, the way the guy chews gum is just an imaginary of his mindset. And I think
Carroll, man, he's got Pete Carroll sideline demeanor, man. He can't stop moving and he can't stop chewing gum. I see that.
He's so into it. And it's everything is rooted on. It's just a bad play, turnover. He's the first one like, hey, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. Just don't worry about it. Next play mentality. And that is so important that a head coach is just behind the guys when then letting the assistants kind of get over there and correct it. So now the first person they're meeting coming off field is Spencer. Like, hey, let's go. We're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. That gives the position coach, hey, sit your ass down. We better talk about this right now. And it's letting that feed off. You got positive energy. Then you let the assistant coach kind of get into him a little bit, critique it, get it fixed. So you get to play off of it. So he's not hearing negative. Oh, by the way, you got a series. Best of luck to you. Now it's like positive, a little bit of negative. How are we going to fix it? Let's move on. And if you have that balance, kids react to it. Kids these days don't react to all the negativity, right? No. It's like, you're bad. You're this. And by the way, this is happening within a 2-minute span, because if you don't get a first down, you're back on the field. And so if you have that balance, and I think Spencer understands that of, hey, I'm the positive. I'm bringing the energy. And when I have to jump on a player, it's going to be really bad, I think. And he just doesn't do that stuff on the game. Yeah. Now, I don't know what's happening behind closed doors. That's his business, and it's his football team. But I think those three things, I think these players love him, and I think he loves them back. And I think, everybody wants to say, no. You got to love the kids that play for you, because if you don't, and if they don't love you, these days they're either hitting the portal and they're going to be a cancer in the locker room.
Yep. I think Boise State fans, I'll ask you this too about, the guy's in his mid-30s. Like, he could be, I'm asking you kind of how big a star could Spencer Danielson be in this business? As you know, in college, in a lot of cases, the players aren't the stars, the coaches are. Nick Saban's the star of Bama. It wasn't any of the quarterbacks, college basketball more so. The coaches are the stars. Yeah. And with Spencer, and I you were on the 06 Houston Texans, probably because Mike Sherman loved you, but you were there in the building, and on that staff was Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniel, Robert Saleh. Some of the smartest guys in the biz right now. Shanahan and McDaniel were slappies, probably just getting started. Did you see that at that age? Like, dude, that Shanahan's kid, that guy knows what he's doing. That McDaniel kid, that's a wizard over there. Like, do you relate Spencer at all? And he already is a head coach. All of them are now, but you've seen, I don't know if they're geniuses, but really, really successful coaches in this business. You were around him every day when they were just getting started.
Though and you can always tell the way somebody addresses a team is because the stars aren't scared. The guys that have the confidence, and I'll say it, the arrogance to stand up in front of a team and go, this is the way this is going to go. This is how we're going to beat them. Because as a leader, you're stepping out on a ledge and saying, okay, this is the plan. This is what we're doing. This is how we're going to win this game. Because if it doesn't go that way, players start second guessing, especially in the National Football League.
Hell yeah. And
so I think, Shanahan, when we were playing the Indianapolis Colts with Peyton Manning, and Houston's never beaten them. Wow. Shanahan gets up there and says, hey, guys, if we don't run the football, hey, O-line, if you don't do your job, we're going to get beat by 40 because we've got to keep Peyton Manning off the field. Guess what happened? We ran the ball successfully, not great, but we kept our drives alive, kept them off the field, and we beat them. And so the stars aren't scared of that. As a true leader, you don't give yourself an out. You don't. You just go, hey, this is how it is. And you know what? If it doesn't go well, you know what else they do? They take some of the blame. They don't pass it on to players. They don't do
the stars. Yeah.
They don't do what Hugh Freeze did and blame the quarterback on some situations and all that. You don't do that. You kind of sit up there and you take the heat. And that's what happens. The coaches get the statues, but the coaches have to take blame too. The coaches have to take some of the blame for a 7-sack game versus Florida State, even after you win. I had to take the blame for that. Some of that is my doing. So if you don't take the blame, you're the one coaching. So take the blame. Now, if it goes right, the stars do what? The players did everything. The players executed right. The players love each other. The players are playing physical football. The players are playing Boise brand football right now. We're in great shape. And I think that's perfect. It's the coaches that I have a problem with are, first of all, they cast off the blame. Second of all, they get all the credit and don't give it back out.
What do you need to see on Saturday? I'm sorry, Black Friday, Boise State, Oregon State, for Boise State to put itself in a position to have one win away from what we think will be the 4 seed.
You know what? One thing, and I've said it, and I think this is even more of a big thing, is the last 2 games, Boise's been down 14-0.
Wow. Yeah.
San Jose State, they were almost down 21-0, and then San Jose State screwed it up with that tackle trick play. So they should have been down 21-0. You can't have that. And this is why. Is an 11 or 10 a.m. kick. So the players are probably going to have to get up around 6. Mm-hmm. I would think 10, 7's pregame. You got to get your walkthroughs done before pregame meal. So they can get pregame, get on the bus, Bronco walk, gone. You can't sleepwalk through this first half. You can't. You have to, because this is a prime opportunity. They're the ones traveling now. So if you think about it, the last 2 games, Boise State's had to travel. They're down by 14. Right? Last week was an away game. So they were down. So now Oregon State's got to travel. They've got to travel. I don't know when they're getting here. They have to get up at 6 a.m. They have to do everything in a different environment. And so you have the opportunity to start fast, get on them, step on the throats, be 21-0 at half, and you're in great shape. You can't sleepwalk through it. Now, I don't know how Oregon State practices. Boise practices in the morning. So those kids are up at 5:45 anyway.
Every day.
So that's the benefit of going early, is this type of situation. The other thing is, got some of these players, I know Ben Dooley, the older players, they were a part of the San Diego State kick at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Remember that? Two years ago. Or 3 years ago, whatever.
It was Khalil Shakir's year, his last year here.
Last year. So that would be Dooley was still there. Really your older guys. And it's important to go through that because it's hard. We played a lot of 11 a.m. kicks in Auburn. Getting those kids up, your staff's down there, and you're there. You have 9 cups of coffee in by this time, and you're never going to let a player see you tired.
Wow.
Because you can't look at, Coach, you're tired. Yeah. eat it. No, I'm not tired. I'm ready to beat the crap out of somebody. Okay, that's got to be fed off of in the morning, like energy. Here we go. Guys, this is it. We're about to kick this game off at 10 a.m. Are you ready or you're not? And I think that's a huge thing about these early morning kicks is getting the kids up, get them going. I don't care if you got to blast Tupac. I don't give a shit.
Love it.
You do whatever you got to do. This is one of those games. Like I wasn't a huge fan of players drinking a lot of coffee before games because coffee naturally dehydrates you. Okay. This one, you can have 6 gallons of it. I don't give a crap. Whatever you got to do to get yourself going at 10 a.m. to go stomp on their throat, let's do it. That's how my feeling is on these early kicks. And the fans too. The fans too. Don't let a half stadium, Albertson Stadium, in the first quarter because they're hungover and they've eaten too much.
Yep.
Okay. This is one of those classic. You just, as a fan, you need just to go on a 2-day bender. Okay. Drink some beers during Thanksgiving, roll it over to the Boise State game, and go cheer your butt off and have them win.
You got the rest of the weekend to hang out. Appreciate you guys. Yeah. BNN Live, Coach. This has been fun, man. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. And here we go. Just another pressure-filled game.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving. Have a good one, guys.